Welcome to episode 2 of the First Fight podcast. I have my good friend and UFC fighter Karl Roberson on. He is a UFC middleweight. He's about to have his second fight in the UFC in Brazil this next week. He is currently 6-0. You had a pretty good debut. Was that first round or second round finish?
It's a first round finish. First round.
First round finish, rear naked, right?
Choke, yeah,
rear naked choke. The funny thing is he's known as a striker, but you have about half of all your victories are submissions.
Yeah.
So dangerous on the ground as well. I'm really excited to see him because I get to watch him train weekly, so I know he's a real deal. Unfortunately, I have to watch him try to murder my husband. He's
back and forth though.
my husband Corey's main training partner, so he's legit. I enjoy watching him train, and I'm looking forward to watching him do well in the UFC as well. So I'm just going to get right into it. As you know, we're going to talk about Karl's first fight. So, Karl, how did you initially get into fighting?
Initially getting into fighting, had a bad past, street thing and everything, but not going on that, staying on a positive note. Went to a gym, put it to use, found my coach Brian, and he pushed me to a different level of mindset, and it got me into competing.
What type of fight was your first fight? Was it kickboxing or MMA?
Yeah, my first fight was a pro rules kickboxing fight. No headgear, no shin guards, just threw me to the wolves. And that ended in the first round too.
You won?
Yeah, one first round knockout. But that was a crazy story. Shout out to Friday Night Fights for all the shit they had to put up with. But first fight, Friday Night Fights, I was late to the venue by like an hour and a half. I went to the wrong venue, so I had to get changed in a cab. From the cab, I went and missed the rules meeting, got there, had like maybe 20 minutes to warm up, hopped in the ring, couldn't even break a sweat because it's my first time cutting down. Knocked the dude out with the first 2 punches and left. It was a pretty good experience.
So how long were you training before you had your first fight?
How long was I training? Damn, this is so long ago. I was training for my first fight with my coach, probably like 3 months.
How old are you?
With Brian, my first fight was 21.
21?
Yeah.
So was it what you expected it was going to be?
Hell no. So nobody expect it to be that real until you get in there. They say your nerves and everything, you can't feel nothing. That's a lie. You feel everything. You feel it all. So every little kick, punch you feel. You might not react to it, but you feel it. But nah, it was an eye opener to show that people are really about this life, about this violence.
What would you say was the biggest thing you learned from that experience?
The biggest thing I learned is being able to push myself. Because being a street kid, we have a lot of quit in our system because we don't like to go against the grain with certain things. And opening up to pushing yourself and being uncomfortable, that was the best learning experience I could have took from that.
So were you sold on it right away after that first experience?
Yes, after that first experience, you couldn't not see me at the gym. I was at the gym the day after that fight.
That's a pretty good first experience.
Yeah,
it's hard not to knocking someone out.
Can't complain.
So, what initially hooked you up with Brian, your coach?
Truthfully, just circumstances happened to walk past his gym as I was looking for another gym to go to because my first coach was a scumbag.
Okay.
And I just happened to walk in there. You know, it's crazy. Me and my coach didn't like each other at first.
Really?
Yeah, we just kept bumping heads. He didn't really believe in me at first because I was just a street kid who walked in, and I didn't trust him because I didn't know him. So we didn't have that click until maybe the 3rd, 4th fight.
So, did you find that discipline right away, or did it take some time for you to learn that?
Nah, it took me some time to learn that the discipline to push. Truthfully, if it wasn't for Brian, I probably wouldn't be able to push because after my first fight, I pushed, but I still kind of held back because when you first fight, I don't want to get tired and nothing like that. Even though I got a knockout, he locked me in the gym for 3 hours straight. We did cardio until I damn near threw up. And when I wanted to quit, he kept telling me to go, and I kept going. And then at the end of that day, we had to sit down and he talked to me and asked, "Did you die?" "No." "How you feel?" "Good." "How'd you feel?" "He's doing like shit, but how you feel now?" "Good." That's what the push is. The push past that limit. Mind over everything. And since then, I haven't been able to stop.
Developed a pretty good relationship. It's almost like a strike against you when you have such a successful debut because you think you're invincible.
It's an ego boost.
Like if you weren't disciplined yet, it might not make you disciplined just by having that experience.
Yeah, that definitely wouldn't have helped at all. If I had a yes coach, the yes coach, to explain the yes coach to people who don't know, someone who just tries to hype you up more because you are doing good. You need a real coach that tells you the truth about yourself. And luckily, that's what I got because he tells me what I need to hear, not what I want to hear. And having a person like that in your circle, you'll never be stopped.
Yeah. Well, that's another topic I'd like to talk about with you. Outside of your fighting experience is mindset. So you have something my dad likes to call the hate switch that you can turn on. And you also just have that no-quit attitude. I've watched you grow as a fighter and dealing with someone like Corey, who he isn't invincible, but he's tough. He pushes people. A lot of people don't come back to train with him. And especially you not being a wrestler, I've watched you get smothered in practice, taken down, and as a striker, I know from my own experience, that's frustrating, And a lot of people don't want to be exposed to their weaknesses and put in bad positions over and over again. So I knew you were something special because you keep coming back and you get better, and you're super impressive considering you had no wrestling background. What is it that kind of motivates that mindset for you?
I think it's just a personal itch I like. I just like I like my weaknesses exposed, so I know what I need to work on. I like being uncomfortable now. Because working so hard, like being such a good kickboxer and everything, I'm comfortable standing at all points. So when I get put in a position where I'm like, I gotta really rethink and like develop, it gives me something else to grow and work on. I like that. I like progression.
It's like a new puzzle.
Yeah, like a new puzzle, a new way of thinking. And the hate switch,
is that anger that motivates you, or do you think it's just focus?
It's a little bit of both. That comes with your past and how you reflect on it and how you deal with it. Yes, I had a lot of issues in my past, so you have a lot of pent-up anger and knowing when and how to turn it on and off at the right time. Like I have a lot of, and I like to hurt people.
So you've gotten a lot of fights on the streets as a kid growing up and got into a lot of trouble.
Yeah, that's a given. That's mostly every fighter's story. Like 50-60% of fighters, that's the route they took, or the route that got them there. But yeah, that's how it was. But it's more not the fights; it's more of the loss and the struggle that I grew up in. The losing of friends, family, people crossing you. It's a little things. Like fighting is nothing. Fighting is fun to me. It's the thing that tests your character and that can change your outlook on life. Like I could have easily just been ignorant and just been a jackass and out here doing dumb stuff and not took this way of life like plenty of people I know have, but didn't, and it got me. I guess I picked the right path because look at me now.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, I think that martial arts does that for everyone. Yeah. I wasn't a troubled kid, but it definitely straightened me out. It made me a more confident person and had more drive in life. Yeah. So you attribute that to martial arts and getting involved.
Definitely.
And having a good coach.
Yeah, great coach. Without martial arts, I probably wouldn't have the mindset I have, like being able to push. Like most people don't understand that martial arts isn't really about fighting; it's about a way of life. And you can contribute martial arts to every aspect of your life, as in a job, as in taking care of a kid, as in just progression, as in a new car, want more money, simple things like that. Being able to break whatever you need down and mentally be able to push, because A lot of people don't have that. That's why a lot of people are breaking down nowadays and just quitting at everything and just giving up. Without martial arts, I would probably do the same thing. But with martial arts, it gives you that mental strength to be able to take that next step.
I've said this before, but just in my experience fighting, that you find like there's moments where you find things about yourself in a fight, in training, where it magnifies a fault you have or a strength you have. I've had moments in a fight where I wanted to quit and I was disappointed for even thinking that in myself. And I've had moments where I overcame in fights where I was like, damn, I'm tougher than I thought, you know?
Definitely. It exposes the good and the bad in you. That's a good thing about fighting. If you're too cocky, you'll be humble. If you need to be pushed, you'll be pushed. And if you want to think you're going to give up, you can push through that too. That's what I love about fighting. So I embrace all of it, the ups and the downs.
What do you think was the toughest thing for you to overcome in your career?
The toughest thing for me to overcome in my career was my first real injury when I got my arm kicked off in my first glory fight, and then fought again with a busted arm.
You tore your bicep?
Yeah, tore my bicep in half and at the ligament. So that and the surgery and be able to come back, because I was told I wasn't going to fight anymore. I wasn't going to be able to control my arm and my hand like that. So being able to mentally overcome that and come back stronger was probably the toughest part of my life.
Well, unfortunately, training is a rocky road, and then it's likely something like that would happen. But obviously, you pushed through it. When I first met you, you were coming off that injury. I think it was after that injury, maybe.
No, it was
before.
Yeah. No, it was right after.
So Karl, he was sidelined for a while, fighting in Glory. You fought Jerome LeBanner on a short notice fight.
Week notice, Jerome LeBanner.
Week notice, and A, had the balls to take it, and B, beat him on not for real, but not on the cards, but he did beat him. In his retirement fight, they, I think, wanted to bring in a can for him to beat and retire on a good note, and they were surprised with Karl, I'm sure. But when I met you, you were coming off that situation, and you got going with the amateur fights, but no one wanted to fight you. Why people are like that, I don't know, but it kind of happened quick for you, because then it seemed like forever, and then all of a sudden you got new management, rattled off a couple fights, and then you got your chance on the Contender Series with the UFC, and killed it with a nice short elbow to the temple off the cage, and got picked up by the UFC. So he definitely showed an ability to perform on the spot, which is not easy for anyone, no matter how good you are. What was that experience like for you?
That was a surreal experience. Working so hard for a goal and then achieving it, let you know that, it actually lets you know that all the work you put in pays off. Because a lot of people don't see their work coming to fruition, as in they don't see the results right away, so they kind of get disheartened. So we're putting all that work for for months, years, injuries and everything, the ups and downs, and then get exactly where you wanted to be. That's like, you can't even explain it in words, really. It's just a feeling like, well, damn, okay.
I can't imagine. I mean, it's disheartening to lose after you put in so much work.
Yeah.
But to win is a whole different story, especially when it counts. I mean, there's always that doubt. I don't know if you go through that, but just being able to perform.
If anybody tells you that they don't go through that doubt, they're a liar.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that push me to work harder. Every doubt I have, I make sure I work harder at. Like, I'm not a good wrestler, so I thought, I'm going to wrestle a fight. So I started going to Dante's. I'm not good at jiu-jitsu, so I started going to Dante's. The dude's a good kickboxer. I know I'm a good kickboxer. We want to level up, okay. Doubt he might be better at some things, so I'm going to elevate that. So the doubts push you to do better and work on more things. That's pretty much how I look at it.
That's one big reason why I wanted to do this podcast, is I like showing that we all have the same mindset.
Yeah.
We all have the same doubts and struggles. It's just how you respond to them that makes you different.
Yeah, exactly.
So a lot of people look at fighters specifically, and they put them on this pedestal, like they're like, this is such a macho thing to do, powerful thing, alpha, but it's really terrifying.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
Because you're
not
like
scared,
ready to get your ass kicked in front of people.
Like, you're fighting in front of thousands of people on national TV, or even in a local circuit in front of everybody you know, which is even worse. Like, I invited these people here, so now
it's
you gotta
very
perform. It's
vulnerable.
A lot of vulnerability and a lot of pressure, and that gets to you. If it doesn't, and people handle it different ways. You get the cocky guys, you get the quiet, distant guys, you get the sleepy guys. Everybody handles it differently, but everybody goes through it. And if they say they don't, then they're lying.
It's such a weird feeling. I said this in my interview, that you could like get beat up in front of your parents, like your parents watching you. Yeah, like, and to me, that's my motivation to train extra hard, work extra hard, because I'm like, I'm not getting my ass kicked in front of people. That's just not gonna happen.
Like, that's one of the sayings I hate. Like, people say, "Do it for your haters." Like, win for your haters. Nah, I win for the people who support me. I work hard for the people who support me, because they gotta go through the same shit I go through, the ups and downs. Like, they hurt like I hurt if I lose. They happy like I'm happy if I win. So it's like a connection that you have with your supporters that you'll be disrespectful if you don't work as hard as you can.
How do you balance? This is something I've struggled with myself. How do you balance being confident but knowing your faults as a fighter?
Humbleness, truthfully. Not being over cocky, knowing what you need to work on. Like, I hate... There's a thin line between confidence and cocky. Confidence is, I know what my issues and my strengths are, and I know what my weaknesses are. Humbleness is like, I've been exposed in practice, so I know what I have to work on. Cockiness is, oh, I'm gonna go to a gym where I'm a top dog, beat everybody up, never be exposed, and then go to a fight and then get exposed, and then somehow still be cocky. We all ran into a guy like that at some point. So mine is just stay humble and be always willing to learn, and always be willing to get beat up. This is what my coach always says to me: if you are the top dog in a room, you need to go to a different room, because you're not gonna learn anything there. And that's what I love about Knicks, because every week me, Rex, and Corey train, we adapt to each other. So if you stay the same, you will have a hard day.
Oh yeah, I definitely, when I came to Knicks, well, I wasn't the best in the room where I came from, but when I came to Knicks, it was a whole different level. It's humbling. It's hard for me to maintain that confidence, being humbled that much.
That's one of the hardest things, being okay with being humble, because you got pretty much breaking your mind down, and you have to rebuild. It's pretty much like the military; they break you down and build you back up. That's pretty much what we go through on a fight camp to fight camp basis. That's a lot of stress.
The beauty of it. What do you think makes your bond with your coach Brian so strong? Like, what is it about him as a coach that really spoke to you?
Just we have as you know, the fuck it attitude. You don't run into many people who really have it like that. Like me, you know me well. Like, I'm really a fuck it type of guy. Like, let's go, fuck it. And I ran into maybe 3 or 4 people who actually legit have that attitude. He's one of them. He's the first guy I met who had the attitude and had the experience I needed to learn from, and the experience he needed the experience to teach me what I needed to know. And we've been through so many ups and downs. Our families got close, so we just started connecting. It wasn't like a rushed connection where like it could easily fickle, like it could easily be broken. Like, after fighting's done, we're still gonna be family. We're still gonna be there for each other. So
yeah, you're definitely loyal, which is hard to come by these days. So tell me about your upcoming fight. You're going to Brazil. It's going to be your second fight in the UFC.
Man.
How do you feel about it?
I'm excited. Like, I don't really get nervous as I per se. I get excited to show what I've learned. I don't really get nervous till fight day, because that's when it really kicks in. Like, that's when you walk into the ring, like, oh shit, you get that aroma, that smell. But I'm excited. I'm fighting another top level guy, vet in UFC, which I like. Always like a challenge. Good wrestler, good jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, he's a black belt.
Yeah, okay, stand up. And I'm headlining the Fox prelim, so I'm moving up in the world in the UFC, so I'm excited to show what I got and put my hands on somebody.
I'm excited. I mean, I definitely see potential in you, and you'll definitely be successful, because if you haven't seen Karl fight, he's a dangerous combination of ridiculous athleticism and technical, but has that killer instinct, and the ceiling, who knows where his ceiling is as an athlete, but, you know, he's disciplined and has a good mindset, so it's a dangerous combination. A lot of people who are given the talent that he has don't have that mindset, so I think he'll be a force in the middleweight division. It'll shake things up a little bit.
Trying to shake it.
Hopefully, people want to fight you after getting this second win.
Hopefully we get there. So after a while, they're not going to have a choice.
Yeah. So what did you do different this camp preparing for Cesar Ferreira?
Yeah, Cesar the Mutant Ferreira.
The Brazilian tough winner.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah. He used to fight 170. Definitely a lot more running, a lot more cardio, a lot more strength training in different ways, a lot more jiu-jitsu, and a lot more wrestling. Mm-hmm. Pretty much sharpening the tools that are dull in the aspect of my fight game.
Well, I think you teaming up with Dante Rivera is a really good decision. You know, he's very knowledgeable with his cage work and has a similar nasty mentality you do. So
you don't run into many people who actually like people say, what is your intention on this fight? A lot of people say, I'm going out there to win in a spectacular fashion. I'm going out there to get my hand raised. I'm going out there to hurt you. Mm-hmm. That's what most people, I'm going out there. I enjoy hurting people. Especially, and I get to do it and get paid for it. So when I go out there, everything I throw is an intention to hurt or to get you to a place where I can hurt you or put you out or make you tap. And I think that's why people go from saying they want to stand with me till they start to trade and then they start to wrestle. Because you give off that aura like, okay, he's not just trying to punch me, he's trying to punch through me. And that's why me and Corey go so hard, because he has that mentality. Like, I'm not trying to just out-wrestle you. I'm going to grab you and I'm going to make you suffer. And I had that same aspect of standing, so we combat each other. As in, when we standing, I'm going to try to kill you, and we put me on the ground. I know. When you get me to the ground, I know what's going on. So I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna hold your gloves till Mark stand us up. But that's pretty much what it is. I really like to go out there and perform in a deadly fashion. As in, I'm going out there to really put a mark on you, make you regret fighting me.
What? Not to look past your next opponent, but say you win. Is there anyone who you'd like to fight next, or are you just open to whatever's going to push you up the ladder?
I want a top 15 opponent, top 15, top 10. I want someone who's been through the grinder and is going to push me. I want someone to make me really go to that next level mentally.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's why you'll be successful. I want to thank you for coming on the show today, taking the time.
Thanks for having me. Feel special.
You have to catch Karl on, what is it, UFC 224 in Brazil.
Fox Sports.
It's going to be on FS1.
Yep.
He is the main event on the prelim.
Yep, main
right?
event on prelims.
So that'll be on FS1.
Yes.
Okay, so tune in. Definitely check him out, because I don't have to say I told you so.
It's going to be a show.
Okay.
It's going to be a show.
Anyone else you want to shout out, sponsors while you're on?
Shout out MHP, my newest sponsor. Shout out my gym, my coach Brian Wright, my family, my friends, everybody who's sticking around me and really down for me. You know, shout out to Sis for putting me on the podcast. Shout out to Brody for all the help. Corey, Rex, Teed, Predator. He's the one coming up. Pretty much shout out to everybody. Sucker Punch. There's a lot of people out there. They know who they are. Shout out, I love y'all.
Okay, well, thanks again, and until next time.
Until next time.